Welcome to WVTC TV Network, capturing family moments in real time, bringing families closer together from the comforts of home. We are unleashing something different to the world. Start your subscription today for the low price of $4.99 per month or $55 annually. Go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com to sign up today. WVTC TV Network is streaming live on 8 different platforms. You can easily download the WVTC TV Network app on the Apple Store, Play Store, Roku, Fire TV, and more. Here at WVTC TV, we have access to movies that everyone can enjoy, including independent films, Sons of a Preacher and a Good Thing, Treasures of Life, the epic drama, The Passion of the Christ, and the box office hit Madagascar Escape to Africa. Remember, go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com and sign up today.
Good God morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning. Look who we got back in the house. We got her back in the house, y'all. Good God morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Solutions Radio Show. I am one of your hosts, Corey Wright, and we have give her a hand back. Right. You know, we just wanted to welcome you back. We know you were dealing with some family things, and everybody was praying for you. My son, everybody, my son, we God is still in the miracle business. He will do it. We missed you, you know.
I miss being here. I thank everybody for their prayers. That's all everybody kept saying. What can I do? Just pray, just pray. And prayer works. And so it has made a humongous difference in everything. So thank everyone for those prayers. Definitely did not go unnoticed.
Okay. Well, you know, as always, we know what the problems are. We know what we need to do to solve them. What we offer on this platform is solutions, dedicated acts of action that bring about true change, not just talked about change, and no excuses for excuses are mentors of incompetence that build bridges nowhere, monuments of nothing, broadcasting live from the WBTC radio and TV network here in Illinois. My chemistry teacher would be so proud of me that I remember this, that I should teach my son this, because every time I came in with no homework, he would make me say this. So, you know, I know it by heart, so you know I done said it many times. But Miss Anita, you all may not know, but this lady is not only gifted speaker, teacher, beautiful, she is a captain on sailing. Now, you know, if it ain't in no tub, I ain't getting in that water. You know, I'm sorry, but tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm a licensed boating captain. I've been boating pretty much kind of all my life. I grew up with it. My dad was a fisherman, and so we always had boats or whatever. But in the last few years, I went to school and got my license. So I do charter private yachts on Lake Michigan from April through the end of October. So I'm very excited because boating season is getting ready to start up again. And that's definitely my peace, my passion, my purpose. So yeah, anybody wants to get out on the water, you can go to Silvera or SilveraCharters.com, and you can go through the booking process, or you can hit me up on Facebook, Anita L. Smith. You can DM me, and if you have questions, you want to make arrangements, it's probably best to just give me a call. Give me a DM and give me your email and phone number, and we can help, get you out on the water and get whatever questions you have answered, get you looked up.
Only question I have is, do they have a life suit? Where not just the thing around your belly. I want the whole suit on case I fall in the water.
We got everything you need. But we definitely believe in safety first. So we've never had incidents. So we pride ourselves on being very safe out there on the water, because people's lives are most important. But it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't had the experience, it's nothing like viewing Chicago from the lake or from the river. We do tours of the Buckingham Fountain. We do architectural tours. We do the fireworks shows. So real
Wow.
fun. Yep.
Now, this morning's show is
Let's get into
a
it.
very interesting show, powerful show. A friend of mine asked me to do this show because this person is what is it? Somebody said, hey, her mic is low.
Turn me up.
Turn up. You know how to turn up, Kyra?
Thank you, Miss Porter.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Okay, yeah.
She said she want to hear everything. I know, girl.
You want to hear everything? Okay, you say the mic a little bit low.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about, okay, I want to hear everything. We're talking about finding love after you have been hurt.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about, you know, is it possible to love somebody after you've been hurt? And I'm talking, and I'm not just talking about a regular hurt. I'm talking about being drugged through the mud, being hurt, being disappointed. And a lot of times in life, we find it very, very hard to try again because of not saying that they're not good people out there, but we just don't know. We won't be hurt again. And so
today, I'm really excited. Corey brought this to me. I was like, yes, let's do it. We're gonna talk about that because this is a conversation that everybody probably needs to talk about, but we don't always talk about it. Like, how do we heal that hurt? How do we heal? How do we move on? You know, when your heart has just been drugged through the mud. So we're gonna talk about it today because a lot of people experience betrayal and heartbreak. And we want to get into some of the solutions, you know, so we can move forward, learn to love ourselves and learn to love others again.
well, now we're gonna not just we're not gonna just talk about we're gonna talk about issues that arise. We're gonna talk about the fear that happens, but we're gonna also talk about solutions. We're gonna talk about it from a emotional point, from a spiritual point, and psychological point. We're gonna talk about that because to love again after being hurt, we gotta first prioritize our self-care, acknowledge the process of emotions, gradually open yourself up to new possibilities while remembering to be patient and kind to yourself. We're going to really talk about some of the things because one of the things that I want to talk about when I think about that is to acknowledge and process your feelings.
Yeah.
Because I think the reason why it's hard for people to move on is because they don't deal with the hurt full head on. They bury it till it becomes a part of their character or personality.
Yeah, that's important because you can't heal what you won't face. You know, you have to be able to acknowledge the pain before you can even begin the process.
And what does that entail? What does that entail? You have to allow yourself the time to grieve the loss and pain from that past relationship. It's easy to say bad things about somebody that meant so much to you because the more someone hates you, the more they really inside love you, because it takes effort to say bad things or to be nasty towards somebody you once been intimate with, you once been married to, you have kids by, you love. It is very hard. So you must do that. Don't suppress your emotions, but find a healthy way to express and process them. Yeah. Too many people, they suppress their emotions. I'm just over it. It don't mean nothing to me. Forget that person. You know, and then in every conversation with somebody new, they talk about them. Mm-hmm. You ain't like this, did you? you ain't gonna do this to me.
Yeah, it's really a process. And a lot of scientists and psychologists, they actually liken losing a person to grief. So the exact same stages you go through when somebody passes away is what you go through when you lose a relationship. You go through that anger, you go through that betrayal, you go through trying to uh, negotiate, you go through acceptance, and then you can go through all of those different stages in different orders. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But if you understand or can think of these relationships ending as a true loss, there is a process for grieving, and there is help, and there are strategies that we can use to move forward in a very positive way where we can
Click
find
on that,
love
Kyra.
for ourselves, and we can, love others.
You're a woman.
Really?
I hope so, because you'll be a pretty man. You're a woman. And why do, and it's for men too, but why do people suppress emotions? Because when I look at you as a woman, you're a very, very strong woman. And I know some very, very strong women. My mom is one of the most strongest women in the world, but she quick to be like, you know what? It just happened. Forget it. Like, why do people suppress their emotions? I mean,
because a lot of times people run into distractions, right? It's like, I'm feeling this way, but I don't want to feel this way. So let me busy myself with all these other things that I can do so I don't have to really deal with this, which is the opposite of what we need to be doing. We need to be facing the hurt. We need to be facing the pain. We need to be allowing ourselves to feel that. But too often you'll start saying, "Oh, let me just go out. I'm gonna hang out with my friends, or I'm gonna start getting all involved with the kids, or different organizations and things," which is not necessarily a bad thing, because getting into other activities is also a part of a process of healing. But you can't run from how you're feeling and use distractions as a placeholder. You have to really just take your time to deal with it using different self-care methods, and you just gotta first, like I said, that acknowledgement that you're even in pain.
Suppressing emotions, therapist said to me, that's one of the foundations of anxiety.
Oh yeah.
Because most people won't admit that something happened.
Yeah. And one of the ways, especially when it comes to like anxiety, that you can kind of self-check yourself is pay attention to your body. I've always say your body tells the story. Sometimes you might feel your heart, beating faster. Your breathing might be faster. Your thoughts are running, and you feel like you just can't pull yourself in. You just start to feel like this sense of pressure, and you can feel it in your body sometimes before you even are mentally aware of what's happening. So once you start to slow down, once you get rid of those distractions, you can sit with yourself and say, okay, I'm feeling this. My heart is beating. What do I do? Okay, let me try some deep breathing exercise. Or let me go take a walk or take a jog. Let me pray. You got to just, figure out what's happening to you, and just instead of pushing it away, welcome that.
That's
because
good.
Emotions are a part of the human experience. So we can't run from that.
And that's why we need to practice self-care. Engage in activities that nurture your well-being, such as exercise, spending time in nature, pursuing hobby. But most important for me was therapy. Therapy is one of the greatest practices to me of self-care, because I had to face things that I wouldn't face. That's the reason why at one point I didn't want to be here, because I wouldn't face everything. And then once you won't face, you accept that this is the way it is.
What do you think is the hardest emotion that you had to face when you were going through that process? After being heartbroken, what was the hardest?
Self-love.
Emotion? Yeah.
Self-love, because one of the things that I had to know and realize that I was worthy. Because the thing is that rejection makes you doubt your worth. When you're being rejected, not looking at who you've been rejected with, but you're looking for something or somebody that you want, but you haven't consulted with God on what it is you need. So for me, self-love, because it wasn't to therapy that I met myself, loved myself, and now I love being with myself and growing in myself because I felt like letting people walk over me and me being a doormat was still I got presence of people.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I struggled with for a long time, even when people would use me, but then turn around and blame me for using me. Or they would stab me and then hand me the knife and blame me for bleeding.
And you were internalizing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to a point where is people needed me so much that I was inside imploding to a point that if it weren't for God saving my life, I wouldn't be here. You would have read about me years ago. Somebody, off themselves.
Yeah.
Because they didn't implode. They imploded. And that was one of the things I had to deal with. So
let's pause there because that's very important. Because this let's do a PSA real quick, because suicide is never the answer. Never.
Yes, never.
There is always help that you can get. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there's some 1-800 numbers of people that you can talk to. If you feel in that space, you need to talk with somebody, because today's problems are not necessary tomorrow's, life
Issues,
that you have to
right.
live. There's help for you. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's real important.
And so one of the things that my therapist, which I thought he was picking on me, but he had to let me know in every equation of my life, there was always a common denominator. Me.
And you know what? Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I rock with you. Because that's actually my greatest challenge that I had to face. My greatest emotion or feeling that I had to face when it came to heartbreak was conviction. I had to be convicted that I was not a victim. I had to be convicted that I had responsibility in the breakdown of the relationship. And I had to accept that, because my initial thing was to blame, was to say, oh, this happened to me. They did this, they did that. But at the end of the day, no one made me accept any of that. No one made me live outside of my boundaries. No one forced me to stay in the relationship. That was all my choice. So by my choices, I had to accept that, but I had to be convicted in that. And I had to realize that it wasn't the other person that I needed to forgive. I needed to forgive myself for not standing by my integrity and my moral values, and setting the proper boundaries to teach another person how to properly love me by loving myself first.
And that is so powerful, because in setting your boundaries, you learn to identify your needs and limit your relationships, but communicate them assertively. One of the things that we do is we don't assert what it is we need up front. We casually relinquish that hold on what we need to get that person.
Right.
Because what happens is what they want becomes forefront because we want them. Yeah. Not saying, okay, my boundaries is this is what I need, that is what I need, but we don't stand on that because we're not mentally, spiritually, and physically married to those boundaries that better us. Yeah. And now, how do you set those boundaries? Boundaries are not set on just wants. Boundaries are set on what you do that gives you the best results in your life.
Yeah.
Not just, okay, I like my shoes this way. Okay, that ain't a boundary. You just like your shoes that way. But the type of shoe you wear that allows your feet to feel comfortable to walk in is the boundary. You know what? Thank you. I like those mics. The mics are beautiful. They're very expensive, but I like these Walmart shoes. These Walmart shoes are a little bit more comfortable. They may not be the highest those shoes, but they fit my feet. I walk in them better. And that's what boundaries we look at.
Yeah, I think it helps to, and this ties into what we were just talking about, ties into boundaries too. You have to understand your role in the relationship. And part of the responsibility of your role is to set boundaries, because that protects your peace. Because if you don't even have any boundaries, and that's not been a discussion that you had up front, then even if you are still in relationship with the person that hurt you, these are things that you can do. You can begin to set some boundaries. You sit down and you have that conversation, and you know, it's not anything and everything, and boundaries aren't used as a weapon. You know, you have to really understand what are the things that is going to cause you to walk away, not what irritates you, what you don't like, to the point where you're using boundaries to try to change a person, to make them into who you want them to be, but to just actually say, okay, these are my deal breakers, and be very, very succinct and clear on yourself to understand what those deal breakers are. And that'll tell you know when you need to, you know, make some changes, you know, and in certain situations, walk away.
But make sure you set your boundaries on your strengths and on God's purpose.
Okay, talk about that.
Don't just set boundaries on what you want. Many people set boundaries on what they want to negate the fact that they need to change their bad habits.
Yeah.
Because you got to, if you're a person who's very nasty with a nasty attitude, and you say, well, they can't come across my boundaries. It is not your boundaries keep people away from you. It's your nasty attitude. There are many people who try to talk themselves out of something that their bad behavior got them into, but then they don't want to change their bad behavior. So a lot of times people create boundaries to stay the same old them, you know. So I am only going to let people into these boundaries that's going to accept my negative, my non-courtesy, my bad attitude, my bad temper. So when you set the boundaries, because see, here's the thing, when we think about trying love again, we got to first focus on self-love, develop a strong sense of self-worth and self-acceptance. Here is the thing, self-acceptance, because we have to understand that God calculated our mistakes before he created us. The Bible says he knew us before the foundation of the world. So he already knew he's all knowing. So he knew the mistake we're going to make. He knew the thing. You got to learn to forgive yourself. One of the things that to me is very tough is people who beat themselves up for mistakes they made in their life. Okay, you picked that bad person. That happened. You were over there. You messed up that relation. That happened. This person hurt you. That happened. They shouldn't have done that. But the healing is your responsibility. But affirmations play a lot in your confidence and what you attract, because you're speaking it. You know, I'm messed up. I did this. I did that. That is a part. Then what happens, you attract that. And you find problems where there ain't problems at. Because you only going to accept or attract a healthier relationship when you learn your self-worth and your self-acceptance.
Yeah.
I'm worth more. You know, everybody ain't going to look the same in the morning when you wake up. You want that lady to look the same way she did when she woke. She's not. You know, there are a lot comes to relationship, financial, you know, so
yeah, one of the things too, a lot of the times now we're talking about how to get over the hurt and how to heal to have a healthy relationship. We got to realize that a lot of people that are listening to this show right now, we understand that some of you all are still in those hurtful relationships. You're still with that person. And so one of the things that Corey was saying was, when he's talking about, you know, the attitudes, you know, if you're in a, you know, you're being hurt, sometimes you might feel, you know, angry, sad, depressed, disappointed, frustrated, anxious, all those kind of things. So, but how do you not allow that to negatively impact your behavior? How do you not allow that to negatively impact your response? And one of the ways when it comes to setting clear boundaries is to just simply say, you know what? I need some space right now. You know, that keeps you from speaking out of turn, keeps you from being nasty, keeps you from being unkind and some of those things. Just simply saying, you know what? I need a little space right now. I need time to heal. I need time to think about this. You know, just give me a few moments. And that's one of the solutions that you can try when you are in relationship with the person and you're trying very hard to set boundaries, especially if you didn't have any before. Know that people might push back once you begin to set boundaries, if there were none, but it will help in the end.
That's right.
You know,
because you have to learn from your past. You have to reflect on past relationships, identify your patterns, and learn from your mistakes. But don't let past hurt define your future. Many people live backwards. Many people initial conversation is about what was done. Many people have self-diagnosed themselves as healed while they're burying what they're not healing from in their subconscious. There are two states of mind, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, which is where your memories is, what your pain is, the way you can store it out of your conscious for a little while and deal with your conscious. Your subconscious is where most people store things. And a lot of times we won't identify our own patterns. Even though we get older every day, we don't have to get older in our manners and our things, because there are people who want people to prove something. There is like common courtesy. Let me listen to you, you listen to me. If I can call you, I can call me. If I can bless you, you can bless me. Many people think because of past hurt, somebody owes them something.
Yeah.
You gotta chase me, you know, and it's like,
I think part of that comes in because people forget that that relationships is about two people. And in doing so, we get so wrapped up sometimes in the other person, we forget about ourselves. And then we expect them to be everything that we need and give us everything we need. When in reality, you ought to be giving yourself at least 80% of the things you need ought to be coming from yourself. So you got to get to that point of rediscovering who you are, because it's so easy in relationships to get tied up into the other person and their expectations and trying to make them happy. You forget what you even love to do for yourself.
yeah.
You forget about your own passions, your own dreams and goals. And you know, you got to start figuring out, what can I do right now today to make me happy? And stop looking at the other person and expecting them to do it for you, and do the real work and rediscover those things that, you know, make you uniquely who you are.
And life is full of variable change. You have to get out of your patterns.
Yeah. It's a rediscovery. You know, it's like because what you were saying with the subconscious, we got to remember that's on a deep rooted cellular level on who you are as a human being, right? And those things are sometimes, you know, woven into who you are. And then when you add in how you were raised on top of that, you know, the whole discussion of nature versus nurture, right? And it's like, what's going to win out? But at the end of the day, no matter who you are as a person, you can retrain yourself to think on a different cellular level and get rid of old patterns and old negative behaviors. And it's going to always come down to you. It's going to always come down to self. It's going to always come down to looking in the mirror. And part of the reason why people can't get out of feeling hurt is because they're too busy looking at the other person, too busy looking at what you did to me, how you made me feel, instead of looking at yourself. What did you do for yourself? What did you do to make yourself feel better? That, you know, in healthy ways, you know, because there are negative ways.
That's right. Let's look at some of the comments. Let's click on some of the comments. Let me see who's that. Hey, we got Miss Porter. We got Anna. How y'all doing? Blessings. Thank y'all for listening. That is so important, because we got to be patient and kind to ourselves, and because healing takes time. You know, and you got to be gentle yourself and allow yourself to heal your own pace. One of the things that we must understand, because everybody wants somebody and everybody wants to be loved by somebody, and love, especially reciprocated, is the best love you can have. I believe that. But sometimes people, because of you being so amazing, want to rush you into a relationship that you're not ready for.
Say that.
Yeah. You're not ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not because you don't have a certain financial place, you don't have a certain thing, because you are living backwards. Because anytime that a new mate or a possible new mate hears more about your old mate than where you and your new mate is going, then there is a problem. You're living backwards. So you're not looking at the new mate for who he is, who God made, and where he going, what he got or she got. You're looking at what was done to you. So you're looking at, don't repeat the cycle, instead of living a new cycle. And that's what a lot of people, because you feel that your journey has to be according to somebody else's timeline. Yeah. Because you may just be a once in a lifetime woman or a once in a lifetime man. You may be extraordinary, beautiful, like yourself, or got all these things going. But if you're not spiritually and mentally in that place, all you're gonna do is create a bigger problem and hurt somebody you didn't mean to hurt later.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe people intentionally want to hurt people. I believe that people rush into relationships too quick and hurt people with stuff that they had nothing to do with, but then we blame the person.
Yeah, I want to jump in because I think part of that is when we talk about from a holistic perspective of what we need to do to heal, we have to first understand that healing is a journey. This is not something that's just going to happen overnight. It's not something that happens, like the light bulb moments and the bricks fall on you and all of a sudden you fix. It really requires introspection. It requires self-compassion and deliberate actions. So part of what Corey's talking about here is you need to take the time for yourself to go through some self-reflection. You have to begin to look at yourself, you're probably gonna hear this from me throughout the whole entire show. You have to be able to reflect and learn on your experience, and you have to put the focus once again back on you and reflect on how did my contributions add to the breakdown of this relationship. And a lot of times you move forward and you jumping into another relationship before you've even figured out what your patterns and behaviors were in the one you just left, and you're still hurt. And so it's like you giving this next person a double whammy. You're not giving them a whole, and healed person, and you don't want to get anybody that's broken and, in pieces, and you have to sit there like a jigsaw puzzle and put them back together. They don't want that from you either.
I want to say hello to my friend Hovey. She's watching. Let me see the comment. I don't know if she commented on it. We got our engineer to, hey. What's going on, Ash? So true. Appreciate it. She's watching. I appreciate it. When we think about that, we also got to seek support. In order for me to become a better person, I had to lean on certain friends, family, members, but more importantly, therapy, because therapy guided me and supported me to navigate through this journey called life. Because why is that important? Is because I had to learn how to be open to new possibilities. See, once you heal or healing, to meet somebody, you have to be open up and to form healthy connections by opening up possibilities. Because most people, they look at love, which it is. Embracing love is a risk. It involves vulnerability, possibilities of getting hurt, but it also is a source of great love and connection. But we have to understand that love is open to new possibilities, but we cannot get those new possibilities all the time with old ways. Some of us, we reach out to people in a place that we think is safe, not understand love is a risk. Like, I will text you, or I will see you here, or I will do this just a little bit, but then wonder why it's not matriculating to what you want it to be,
right,
or why you're not happy, because you want the reward of love without the risk of love.
See, we have to understand that it's the reason why it's so important to talk to people and not suffer in silence is because pain inside of you just grows. It doesn't go away. So when you keep that, pain inside and don't reach out to somebody, you're not giving yourself an avenue or outlet to release that from your body, to release that from your spirit, to release that from the atmosphere. So you got to find someone safe, don't just be out here just telling everybody your business and then running down your mate. And then, the next day or the next week or the next year, you back with them. And, now you looking silly and foolish. No, it's like, get you a trusted family member, friend, therapist, somebody that's not going to judge you. I have a saying with my safe people, that's what I call them, people you can go to, is we say no heat, no shade. That means you can say what you say. This is an environment that is judgment free. And so you need to find a person. And if you don't have anyone in your life like that, reach out to a counselor. They are very independent of you and your mate, and they can help give you a little bit more clarity. Because sometimes when you're in the situation, you don't really know how to deal with it. You might think you're dealing with it in the right way, but you need to see things from a different perspective. And that judge-free zone is very important to releasing pain.
And now let's talk about love.
Mm-hmm.
The active choice to love. First of all, love is not an emotion. Let's just get that out, because everybody say, I got a feeling about this person. I got a feeling about that person. It could be gas. It could be the meal you ate last night.
Y'all see what I'm dealing with here.
Heartburn. Don't mean you in my heart.
Yeah.
Love is a choice. It also is a conscious choice. Let's be, because so many people say I've been hoodwinked. You know, they didn't use the Holy Spirit. God didn't warn them. They have been hoodwinked. I didn't see this person coming, or I didn't know this person was going to do that. I think I clicked 2 times, Kyra. Kyra, keep on. I'm going to have to jack my son up. He's the engineer, y'all. Y'all going to still punk a head on national radio like I'm jacking him up. I got to jack him up anyway because of some of the movies he had me watching. You know, this guy find movies that just, I'm like, Kyra, let me stop. So a lot of times we look at love as a feeling, and God warned us about some people. That's what the Holy Spirit in us. There was something that we didn't know about, we didn't want to see about that person. So what we did, we used the scale choice. Let me weigh the pros against the cons. And whatever win, I'm going to go with it. This guy got this guy got that guy got this girl got this girl got that. They don't have this. They don't have that.
What are you suggesting? Where are you going with this when it comes to love? Are you saying that you... No, I don't even want to put the words in your mouth. Just
what I'm saying is people got to actually choosing love. They have to prioritize their need and their partner's need. They have to look at a table and not look at what's on the table, but look at the table and see what is missing. They must communicate openly and honestly and work through those challenges together. People are so bent on what I bring, which give them an innate, inanimate thought of feeling of not losing what they work for. That's the first shield right there. And the first flag is I got all this, and I'm not coming to open up my life with you in a manner that I've opened my life with you as love, as a choice. I'm coming, guarding and protecting what I already got. And if you can work around that to love me, then you can love me. But look at it as a choice, because all you've accomplished, you're choosing to love that person.
And that's part of where the healing comes in.
Getting hot now.
Is understanding that you are the one making that choice. You are the one choosing to love that other person. And that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier. It is by your choice. So even if the person that you were now you got me not want to say in love with.
You can say love.
Let's just say committed to, because love is an action. It's a commitment. When you say I love you, you are saying I'm committing to being with you, and I'm committing to being within this relationship. But within that commitment, you're the one making it. And so if they do you wrong, and I mean, you know, cheat on you, beat on you, dismiss you, you know, walk around for weeks at a time, not speaking to you, where you don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, you don't feel loved, where there are things that you can do in that situation. You are not powerless, and they are not Lord over you. You know, you have to be able to take that thing to God, pray on it, or like I said, recreate some new boundaries and say, okay, these are things I'm not going to accept. And I'm going to remove myself from this situation, or maybe we need to go to counseling. We need to go to therapy. We need to do something to fix it. And if you're not an active participant in that decision, in that choice that you're making, just understand that you're the one making it.
You know, my mom said something to me the other day when I was talking about this show. She said, you should say love. And she said, I appreciate you saying you love me every day. And you say that to your sons, and you say that to everyone, you love them. But she said to me that people run from the boundaries. That's good, LaDonna.
Miss LaDonna Marshall said people run from the boundaries. I had that in my notes. I'm gonna come back to that when he
click on that. Click on that. So it said, keep clicking, Kyron. And one thing that she said to me is, I know you love me because you have shown it. When we say love is a commitment, it has to be based on actions, because there are many people who have committed to love, committed to the words of love, said I love you, but do nothing. You know, one of the things that I had to learn that my therapist taught me was, you are afraid of losing people who have added nothing to your life. Some of y'all are afraid of losing their presence when their presence has bought you nothing and in fact deflated you, have taken away from you. You know, wherever I go, I try to pride myself on never taking advantage of a person, or a person has been blessed because they're in my life. Not being a person that, you know, that my being in your life has caused you to have nothing better in your life. You know, I'm just married to you. Okay, you know, love is what love does. I agree. And so a lot of times when people say love, and they look at love, active choice of love, I'm looking for somebody that I can work with and create and grow with. That is love. Somebody that can create a future for us and create a future for our kids to come. Love is when we have grown spiritually and physically and monetarily, and that's love. You telling me you love and you committed to me is not love. That's just words.
One of the things that I suggest that people do is to actually take out some paper, take out a pen, and create a healthy love list.
Oh, that's good. Good. Oh, that's good.
And just start to write down what healthy love looks like to you. And you write that.
That goes back to healing first, knowing your self-worth.
Right.
That's right.
What kind of relationship do I want? You know, I want somebody who listens to me. I want somebody who respects me. I want somebody who supports me. And you write those things down on your list. And not then that you just start looking at the other person to receive those things, but you start embodying those principles on your own love list. And you start challenging yourself to give love in that way. And then, you know, you might inspire your mate to then begin to reciprocate, because love is very reciprocal. We've all heard you got to give a little to get a little. And too many times, and I can't say this enough, we are always consistently focusing on what the other person is doing. But focus on yourself and your love list. But not only that, but what are the things you need to be doing to love yourself? I heard recently, it was on a video on social media that I saw, where this man said he believed, it was kind of controversial, but I don't think it's so controversial because I think it's a lot of truth in it. He said he believes that men were taught how to, you know, give, what to do in a relationship to give. But they were never taught on how somebody should be treating them. And women were taught what to get from a man, but were never taught what to give. And I can really agree with that.
Wow,
on a lot
that's
of levels.
good.
Yeah, that men were taught, you know, how to treat a woman. This is what you're supposed to do. But nobody ever taught them how that woman was supposed to treat them, you know. And women were taught how to, you know, this is your expectations in a relationship. These are your expectations that you should be receiving from a man. But then no one was teaching them, how do you treat that man? What are you supposed to, you know, how do you show up in a healthy and positive way in relationships? And so we have to start to be able to make the definition in defining love. Men need to say, okay, this is what, what I'm giving, but what am I supposed to be receiving? And vice versa. So it begins to be very reciprocal. And that can lead to, a greater amount of love, a deeper amount of intimacy, and a stronger level of commitment within our relationship. Miss Porter, she said, I'm gonna write my list right now. Yes.
That's so powerful, because a lot of people have been hurt. That's why people have fear of trying again, because they've been hurt.
Yeah.
They've given their all and it's been chopped up, or they've been lost. And people attract toxic relationships that don't love themselves. That's what Anna said. Yes. A lot of times people are hurting and they are scared. Even though they went through everything, they're scared. If you didn't get bit by a bear going down a road, even though they have assured you there were more bears on that road, you're going to be able to, you're going to be fearful of it. And the reason why is forgiveness and letting go. Mm-hmm. People forgive, but they don't let go. Mm-hmm. Moving forward requires forgiveness, but both yourself and your past. Holding on to anger and resentment can prevent you from fully engaging in a new relationship. Many people, they forgive the person to a point where they won't forget. They won't forget. Every time you see that person or you see somebody like that person, you know what I mean? Because I forgot the person's name, but I was listening to their take on relationships, because I study all week for but I study all week because I want to make sure I give you guys good information.
Yeah.
And they said that this woman fell out of 5 marriages. And when she fell out of 5 marriages, she said the scariest thing about all 5 marriages, and this is going to really blow y'all away, was that all the guys was the same. Mm-hmm. They were all similar. They all did the same work. Mm-hmm. They all looked the same color. They were all the same size, and they all had the same problems.
And she was crazy because she was expecting the same results.
Because
she wasn't expecting.
Even though she forgave him, she didn't let it go. Yeah. So she held on to resentment, and that or so afraid of being hurt again by somebody like him that soul tie made you attract somebody like him.
You can only attract what's inside, and that's just plain and simple. You got to look at, once again, yourself. I'm going to say this all throughout the show. So by the time you get to the end, you're going to have some solution.
Different man, same spirit.
You cannot, I'm going to say it again. You cannot attract what's not inside of you. And you, if you seeing ugly in somebody and that's what you attracted, there's something inside of you that has that in you as well. Something that is not healed. And you know what? I think one of the worst.
Ooh, come on, I know where you're going.
Things that a person. No, one of the worst things that we have been told, in my opinion, is forgive and not forget. I think that's absolutely insane. When you forgive, see, part of this journey, part of this process should be self-reflection. Right. Okay. So if a relationship ends or things aren't going well within your relationship, and even if you're still, in relationship with the person, and you do that step of self-reflection, then you begin to identify those patterns, begin to identify the things that need to change. You don't have to hold on to
that's
the
past, a great perspective,
because you can take the past and learn from it and move on it to grow. But if you're steady holding on to it and it's playing on repeat in your mind, that is the number one way that you can know that you are not healed, that you have not gotten over that thing, that you still have work to do on self, because it is not forgive and don't forget. Yes, forgive, learn from it. So no, you're not going to forget, but you're going to take that step in between, reflect, and then garner what you can from your experience and how you show up in the world, not focusing on the other person. Once again, it's on self-reflection. And then you embody those changes and move forward. And that's how you're going to grow. And that's how you're going to get to a place of self-love.
Okay, I agree. Let me just add a little bit onto that.
Okay.
Is that you don't lose the lesson, but you forget the person. Like when I look at the fact that this person hurt me in this kind of way, I don't want to make sure, if possible, to love another person. It's impossible to love another person. First off, you don't love.
First off, if you don't love you, it's impossible to love another person.
When
it starts with self-love.
When I say forgive and forget, not what happened to me, but the person that did it to me, to watch those things. Because here is the perspective that I'm going to go into about building trust. Because my therapist used to always tell me this, and this is embedded in my mind. He said, for every bad decision, look at the bad position you were in when you made the decision. That a lot of times, bad decisions, especially when it comes to love, is made in a bad spot. Sometimes it can be a financial spot. Sometimes it can be after somebody lost somebody in death or tragedy. Or it could be something that my heart is open and vulnerable because I need somebody. You know, that a sound, strong decision. Because when you make love, you build trust. Trust is the cornerstone to any relationship. It needs to be built intentionally. But here it is. This involves being honest, reliable, consistent in your actions and words. Now, action comes before the words. Because every word I say should be backed up by my actions. How do I love you? Because I treat you this way. And how do I love you? Because I'm consistent in what you need from me and consistent that way. How do I love you? Because I'm honest. I'm reliable. I'll go without to make sure you have because I love you. So when I say the words, I love you, my actions have backed that up. That is where building trust has gone because people get in love, they give everything they got before there was any trust built because the person, you don't even go to a job without them asking you for a resume or list your previous jobs. You go for employment, list your previous places you live because they want to know if they get a good worker, a good tenant, or they get somebody they need to start the eviction process already before the process ever started.
That's good. You just made me forget what I was going to say.
But it's the truth. Because how many people have we said I do to?
Yeah.
They don't even have a future.
Okay, so I know what I want to say to that. And I want to add on to that too, because I love the part about trust. Because we're taught that, you know, that trust is somehow inherently tied to love. And I don't disagree with that necessarily. However, I believe that the external aspect of that is kind of too prevalent because the person I want to trust the most is me. And that's just the reality of the situation. Because sometimes when you're loving a person and you want to make them happy, you want to do what they are asking. And I'm going to say, especially for men, you need to be careful with this because the man is considered the head. And a lot of times in wanting to please your mate, you will make a decision that you know is not what's best for the family or what's best for you or her or, you know, or whatever the dynamics of your relationship is. But you will then say, okay, just to give them their way because maybe they had some crocodile tears. Maybe they say, you know, oh, you're not supporting me. You're not being there for me. And I just want this thing. And you just say, okay, I'm going to give it to them because, you know, your heart goes out to them because you want to make them happy. When in reality, in trusting yourself, sometimes you have to say no. And no is as much as a loving word as yes.
That's
you have
powerful.
To be willing to say no. You have to stand by your convictions. You have to stand as the head, or, you know, even if you're dealing it from a feminine perspective, you have to learn to say, no, I'm not going to do that because this is outside of my boundaries, or no, I'm not going to accept that. because we get too comfortable trying to please people. And that's another way that we lose ourselves, because we want to please the other person. We begin to slowly chip away and compromise at our level of integrity.
And here's something I know you about to jump on. Don't let your past relationship define our relationship. Don't let it. Your past experiences, while important for understanding your needs and boundaries, should not dictate the terms of my new relationship. I did not hurt you. Any position that you in your life when I met you was a life you lived before I met you. Anybody that hurt you before you met me hurt you. Anybody that violated you in any way they violated you, they did this before I met you. You cannot set the terms of our relationship governed by the hurt you experienced. You can't set your boundaries backwards. You got to set your boundaries forward. Because you chose somebody bad that hurt you. You have to focus on the presence. Instead of dwelling on what you've lost or what you expect, concentrate on building a newer connection with a potential partner based on the mutual respect and understanding and who God created them to be, and not what you lost. Because God did not and do not have to obligated to save a relationship that he didn't put together. You know, most people think I've been married 3 4. If God didn't ordain it, you weren't married. You was practicing. You had a certificate of dating for you into a legal contract. Bible said what God put together, let no man put under. He don't put everything together. So you was never married. Somebody, I've been married 4, 5 times. No, you wasn't. Because that wasn't the person who God put together with, because you never seeked him. So my thing is, and this was for me, This is you could tell one of my sore points. This is a point right now.
Yeah, real passionate.
Yeah, because
he hyped up.
You can't define me by what somebody else did. I do not have to keep the promises to you that somebody else made you. They promised you a Lexus. I only have money enough to get you a Cadillac. I can't afford a Lexus. I can afford a Cadillac. Here is the thing. Even though you don't have the Lexus for me, you still driving nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna give him a minute to just you know, this is something that's real, you know, personal with him from the experiences that he's been through. And again,
I've actually walked in and stuff.
I agree. And I also have some additional points to offer where that is concerned, because I agree. Anytime you move on and you enter into another relationship or another covenant with someone else, another commitment, you need to be ready, number one, to make that move. And until you are ready and in a more healed place, then I do believe that it's best to, you know, take that break in between relationships and to use that as an opportunity for you to grow and learn more about yourself, because self-discovery is very, very important. Once again, we're going to talk about that a lot. Self-compassion, respect, self-love. All of these things are necessary, right? But at the same time, Corey, anytime you decide to engage in another relationship, a part of that healing process is your ability to open up and be vulnerable.
Okay.
And it's not just, you know, one way. So I think I've made it clear so far that I do believe it's mostly related to self. But at the end of the day, you are taking on a new person, and you have to understand that feelings and emotions include pain, and that is a part of the human experience. That is what you're getting when you accept someone else into your life. You can't say, I'm going to take you, but you know what? All your emotions need to go over there. No, because then you are not really looking at that person for the full divine being that they are, because we are emotional human beings. And it is our responsibility to have empathy and compassion for other people and what they've gone through. Even if you weren't the one that did it, there will be times where you're going to have to understand and know what that person went through, how that affected them, what those triggers are, and hopefully you finding that out in the beginning, when you are beginning to know each other, and when you're talking to put that finger down, and when you're talking about, you're gonna wait for this. But no, in the beginning, when you're setting those boundaries and when you're talking about your triggers, because we talked about it on another show. So if you didn't see that, go back and watch the video on WVTC Radio. Okay, go back and watch the video of that previous show where we talked about triggers. Those are the types of conversations we need to be having. Those deep conversations. We could talk about the weather and what movie you like and what was the last book you read. But at the end of the day, you need to get to the heart of who that person is. And I'm sorry, you can't take on another woman and not accept her whole heart. And part of that comes with her pain. As long as you are making and setting those boundaries for the expectations of how she's supposed to treat you, because of that pain that you have, she has to be careful not to, let that come out in certain kind of ways. But at the end of the day, that's who she is. That's a part of it. And that's whether that's a man or a woman, what they've been through is a part of their human experience. I'm tired of people thinking they're not going to hurt. If you going to love, you're going to hurt, because that's just a part of life.
I agree. But here's the thing. I know you've been hurt, but I didn't hurt you. And our relationship shouldn't be rooted around what you've been hurt by. It's like, I'm at your door. Would you let me in? Would you let me in your door? Okay. You'll let me in your door. And all I want to talk about is how, and you say, you know what, Corey, but all I want to talk about to you is how nice my house is, or the nice the house I was, or the house that happened. And, then I'm telling you, what, you need to put a little more stuff over there, because my walls ran, and what, your floor's a little scabbed, because I was with somebody, my floor is all scabbed up, or what, your bathroom kind of small, you know what I mean? But I thank you for letting me come in and live here, but last time it was a small bathroom, my last probably did this. See, all I'm talking about is that, instead of saying, let me be thankful I'm in a house with you and I got a house to be in.
That's a very good vision, because guess what? If Corey came into my house and did all those things and said all those things, I'm going to entertain him. We're going to eat. We're going to have some good coffee. We're going to have great conversation. But at the end of the day, when he leaves, I'm going to know that Corey is not ready. Corey is not ready to have that kind of relationship. So because of the boundaries and the levels that I have already set for myself in the beginning, I am going to say I cannot move forward in relationship with somebody who's not there yet. And I cannot take Corey and shape and mold him like Play-Doh and to be ready for me or the man that I need him to be, or further along in his healing process than he is. You just got to accept that and start to understand what's healthy and what's not healthy for you.
Now let's let Corey come in now.
Okay.
Corey didn't hit it big. Okay. Corey coming to your house now. Of course, this is a beautiful house. Where's there another house you would want to live in? You say, I would love to live in Miami somewhere with a big really? Okay. Well, you know what? But I love this house. I love this house, and I love this. This house means the world to me and everything. Well, we can go live over there if you want to. That's a different thing. Like, okay, I'm not trying to change you from the house you at, but let's go to a higher level. Now, you govern your life according to the house you have now, because this is what you can afford, and this is what you had to deal with. But now that you and I together, and I walk in your house, and I'm like, okay, let's live in Miami. Let's live the life we want to live. That is me not trying to control you. Might have said, okay, I'm on this level. Let's move up.
Right. And that's that growth mindset. That is a key, because that kind of shows that you're already at a place of healing when you have that growth mindset. So I don't disagree with that, because you have to make sure that both people are compatible and in that same mindset.
Because it goes my next
you got to just know yourself, because you don't have to have perfection. Okay. It's okay not to be perfect yourself. And it's okay that your mate is not perfect. We got to get out of this thing that everybody's so perfect for you. I'm imperfectly perfect for somebody. And that's just that's as far as it's going to go. So you got to you got to know, if you're not the type of person that can deal with a person's emotions to help them grow in that way or to help them heal, then certain people aren't for you. Some people do have that level of compassion and empathy and patience and love, and they can love a person through their pain.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know, is that you? So
I could.
Once again, know who you are in the inside and what you bring to the table, and then know who that other person is.
Now we about to get
Corey's over here like, wait, let me jump in.
No, I ain't gonna talk on that. Let's get to the meat of my program.
All right, let's go.
We about to get into the meat now. We about to really get some stuff started. One of the things we have to stop doing, we have to avoid setting up unrealistic expectations. Coming into a new relationship with expectation that your partner owes you something, or that they should automatically understand your needs based on your past experience, can lead to disappointment and resentment. Let me first get it. Listen, I get it. You've had experience.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You have been hurt. I get it. You're scared to try love again. I get it. You want to protect what you have. But a new relationship, that partner owes you nothing. They owe you. They don't have to come in there. They owe you something, or they should automatically. I cannot automatically understand where you feel. That's the reason we talk about emotional speaker when we communicator versus a logical communicator. Because I can't understand, and I'm gonna get lost in emotion. And one of the main reasons why, because my therapist always say, you don't know how that person feel emotionally because you wasn't there when it happened to them. Because one of the things is, you ask a witness what happened, their conversation or report is going to be different from the person in the actual accident. Because what they're going to say is, man, I felt like this and I felt like that. Because I was reading a story where a lady survived being in the car for 6 days.
Yeah, I've seen shows like that.
6 days. Now, they asked the guy who found her plowing what he thought, but it was nothing compared to the woman in the car talking about giving up and never knew it.
Yeah.
But so I couldn't understand, or even try to begin to understand, what it is she felt based on her past experiences, because they were not my experiences with her.
Yeah.
And that's how disappointment and resentment happens, because I am trying to fit into a place. Gerald, I am trying to fit into an emotional space in your life and time that I did not or wasn't there. I owe you nothing. Many people, when you get in a relationship, they want you to prove something to them. Show me that you want to be with me. Show me what you got. Show me. And it's like, why do I have to give you something that I don't owe you? Let's build together. If I'm good enough to call you, you good enough to call me. I'm good enough to love you. You good enough to love. I don't have to prove to you that I'm a good man, or I got to make right your wrongs. I didn't make them wrongs your wrong. Somebody else did. And to me, I think that creates disappointment and resentment, because people feel like that because I was hurt and someone was taken from me, somebody owes me something.
So I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, because I don't disagree with that wholeheartedly, but I can only speak to Anita. So when you come into my life, I don't have a world, and I personally think this is a problem. So I don't know. I think this is a problem, because I don't like when people say, I have no expectations for this person. And I'm thinking, really? Like, why not? Why wouldn't you have expectations for somebody that is in your life, or somebody that you are vetting to be in your life, or somebody that you have had years of experience with in your life? But you hear this more often from single people who are dating. I don't have no expectations. And I think people say that because they're afraid to be hurt, so they don't set the expectations. I think what has to be done is you have to set the proper expectations of a person, because you're not coming into my life not bringing nothing. I'm sorry. I don't agree.
What is the root of those conversations?
But let me just finish. I just feel like that for me, it's healthy to set proper expectations. Like there is an expectation for me of kindness. There's an expectation of me for time. There's an expectation of compassion and understanding and being genuine, being transparent and open. All of those things are free. But my list, that's part of my healthy list. Yours might be something different. So it may not be these exact same things, but we need to set some expectations, just like we need to set boundaries. I can't not say, well, you could come into my life, but you don't have to offer anything. I mean, to me, that just would never work.
I look at it like this: kindness and time and all these things shouldn't be a part of expectation. It should be part of who that person's character is. You know, good character traits. Expectations is somebody's ability to build with me. Or, you know, like everybody is different. Like I can't build expectations on what I think somebody, because see, every expectation, every decision, and everything that happens, there's a root to it. There is no decision that we make in life doesn't have a root or a foundation or something connected to it. Because why do I wash my body every day? Because I don't want to stink. The root is smelling bad.
Right.
So there is a root to it, because you know, when we look about our self-deserve, we treat respect and kindness, but we should never settle for anything less, you know, because you got to think about that.
Yeah.
When you chase a person, you won't find out why they're running until you catch them. And some people are running from themselves, and you caught them, don't know who they are. When I say that I don't want no expectations, it's because I don't want to build a relationship with a knowledge of my past failures to infiltrate what I have new. Because the Bible says when God forgives us, we're new creatures. We start off from there. He said he throws our sin and seek forgiveness, because he doesn't want us to look back at what we came from, but he wants to look at where we're going. He asked Ezekiel a question: can these bones live? That was the question. That do you have faith for the army when all you see is the bones? And many people, they don't get that, because they're looking at a point where I want to set expectations on what? Just like boundaries. What am I setting my boundaries, my expectations on? Because one of my biggest failures was I was setting my expectations, my boundaries on what I've been through and not what a person is. And so when I got that person, I didn't embrace what they bring to me or who they are, who God made them to be, because you have to live up to boundaries and expectations I set because of the lack of and not who you are.
Well, I know one thing, and I know this is very important to you because you talk about this a lot, about growing with a person. And that's a key component. And I think that part of the solution for that, and part of the solution in healing in that aspect, is shifting your mind to a mindset of growth. And I know that's something that resonates with you in particular, because we talk about this all the time. But in that mindset, we have to start viewing the hurt and the pain and the challenges that we experienced in these relationships. It's actually an opportunity. And in a very strange way, it can be a gift. And we look at it like it's a bad thing all the time. Good. But it's a gift because it becomes an opportunity to grow. You use those things that happen as a tool to help you move forward. And that it breeds personal development, right? When you are able to overcome challenges, and when you're able to be resilient, and when you're able to recover, and then those things can make your relationship actually stronger. But we're so busy fighting that and never being as comfortable with the pain as we are the love. Then, and I'm not saying like, it just feels so good for somebody to hurt you. But I am saying twist your kaleidoscope a little bit and look at look at it from a different perspective, and say, because you cannot avoid hurt and disappointment in life. Again, we're emotional beings. That's part of the human experience. We're going to experience grief. We're going to experience, death. We're going to have highs and we're going to have lows. But how you handle that, if you can start saying, well, how can I grow from this? How can we take this, embody that hurt, embody that pain, use it for the betterment, as a locus of an internal control to change our situation for the better. You know what I'm saying? In doing that, you're focusing on not the problem, but you're focusing on personal growth, and you're focusing on self-improvement.
That's good.
Right? I did this thing. It was messed up, or this messed up thing happened to me. But now go through the work, go through the steps, go through the journey, use the strategies something that we're giving you here today, and incorporate these strategies, and then use them to help heal, use them to pave the way for you to rediscover love and rediscover connection. But if we stay fighting the pain all the time and saying, "No, I don't want to feel that way," we'll never get to that point of, that rediscovery, and we'll keep repeating that cycle of being hurt and damaged, and you begin to feel the damaged goods, and that's where the self-doubt and the self-hurt and the feelings really wanting to give up, not necessarily directly on life itself, but on love. And that's the most beautiful part of who we are as human beings. It's that human connection.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm sorry, you would stop right when I'm about to do it.
Well, I can keep going now.
No, here is the thing, that one of the main problems we're going to talk about is correcting the problem of choosing. One of the greatest areas needed to improvement when choosing a new mate after being hurt is choosing according to your type, because it was your type that hurt you. Sometimes choosing your type has the change that is so deeply needed inside of your psyche and emotional state of healing, because you won't take responsibility for your part and your own unhappiness. So it creates a problem with everyone you encounter, not understanding that you are the problem. You keep facing in problems, being a common denominator, which is you with different partners. While your type, physical appearance, personal traits, etc., can play a role, it is crucial to prioritize qualities like emotional stability, shared values, mutual respect, good communication when choosing a mate, as they most likely to lead fulfilling and lasting relationship. Here's the problem. Your choice. I am a good man and I have a lot to offer, but I've never been somebody's first choice. You know why? Because of what I represent. Because here is the thing about people always feel that I can always get better. That's the thing, because I'm looking at it from a physical perspective. I'm looking at it from a place of personal traits, or you look at it, and many people look at it like that, but they don't look at the qualities that person brings. They don't look at the fact, because many of us won't admit this, but we've turned down good women and we've turned down good guys because they didn't fit what we think it was, even though they had all of the traits of God, of quality, of love, honesty, and truth. I don't want them. I'm going to tell you from experience, I had in my mind the type of woman I wanted. Matter of fact, I had one in my mind that you could not tell me that I wasn't going to end up marrying her. But recently, I met one of the most beautiful souls in the world. One of the most beautiful souls in the world that showed me that it shows me that I got to be happy with God first, that it ain't about money. It ain't about finance. It's about somebody showing you a beautiful heart and helping you. I'm just as good as anybody in the business world, period. I'm just a great enough kid. Here is the thing. I never had anybody to accept my heart and my soul, to reciprocate that. And you know what? Here it is. It was when I gave up. When I said I don't ever want to date no more, I don't believe in people. People play games. My heart is just too big and too good for me to be married to anybody, because you know why? I'm always somebody's second choice, and somebody in some weeks just erase that. I won't say her name. I won't say anything, but she knows she's watching. But I won't say anything. changed my whole mind of perspective, because it didn't matter what God gave me if I didn't have peace. The house is beautiful, but I'm only moving in for the peace. Yeah. And it changed my life. And I realized that this beautiful person is not my type. She's not somebody that I would put down on paper. Yeah. What I want. I had somebody I thought God gonna bring us together eventually. Here's the thing. It was not with her saying that I can have better. Mm-hmm. It was with her saying, I don't want nobody else.
You know what? Oh my goodness. That is beautiful.
I'm telling you.
You know, and I thank you for sharing that, because, you know, that had to been a very lonely place of self-doubt, feeling like nobody has ever chosen you first, right? And to experience that type of love, to change your perspective, to say it's not about finances, it's not about this, it's about, again, that human experience. And that's a beautiful thing when you can meet and connect with a person on a humanistic perspective and not dealing with outside, you know, resources, but then more importantly, coming to that place of self-love and acceptance. And that is what this show is about. It's about how to rediscover and reconnect with yourself and with others after the hurt and after the heartache. And one of the things always hit me sometimes right in the moment. And when Corey was saying it's your type, you know, that you're choosing time and time again, well, this is my type, and your type that hurts you. But I break that apart and say your type. Like, when you say, oh, he's not my type, but your type, meaning your type, who you were and how you're showing up in a relationship has every bit to do with, you know, the results that you're getting, you know, out of that relationship. So sometimes you are the problem, your type, not external, but internally, your type. And that's what you have to get to understand. You have to get to that place where Corey's talking about. You have to get to that place of everything, self-love, self-growth, self-acceptance, you know, self-respect, all of those things. When you are dealing with relationship struggles that you can easily lose sense of. And you easily can start expecting other people to provide those things for you.
Because your type is found in somebody's perspective. Mm-hmm. This person, not saying she's not a beautiful lady, she showed me that I needed to be in a place of peace without expectations of what I bring, what I have, where I'm going, what I'm doing. Just in a peace of calm.
Sometimes, Corey, even in that, your type in the past may have been leading with that.
Always.
You were leading with what you want to be, or what you bring into the table, who's, you know, how we can get together and what we can put together. And that's what the results you were getting.
And the standard
was
was
that to the side and start focusing on the deeper, meaningful things. Then here you go.
Because
love chases you down.
Right. Because you know it's like I know what I wanted, but I wanted that because of what I didn't have. But then what I have is something I've never had. Because I've never ate a meal like that. I've never ate a meal where this meal is good. It's some food I've never tasted before. Because you know why? I never tasted before because it was never presented to me before.
And look at that. Without even realizing it, that's another great revelation, because it's like you were turning away from it, what you didn't even know, right? It's like, oh, I don't want that, or I'm not going to date, or I'm not going to, you know, I don't need love. You start to reject the very, you know, humanistic part of yourself because of the hurt and the failures. And holding on to grief and hurt and pain is never going to yield you positive results. And in that situation, now let me finish this real quick, because I want to use your example.
Because I got a good revelation behind that.
And the plate, right?
Okay.
So a lot of times, what do we do when we go to a restaurant or we haven't even tried something, and we'll sniff it, we'll look at it, and we say, "This, I don't want that. I don't eat that." I don't like that. I don't want that. You've never even tasted it. You don't know what that feels like. You've never had it before, but you refuse to try it, right? And it's the same thing in relationships. It's like we refuse to try something different or to be different ourselves, and we reject that very thing that we really ultimately want, instead of figuring out what are the strategies and what are the steps that I can take to make this better. Go through that journey, and you can, you don't have to reject goodness, and you don't have to reject love, and you don't have to reject a deep, meaningful relationship, because really you just need to open yourself up to be vulnerable and, let love, like I say, chase you down, so to speak.
And that was the whole thing, because I felt like I had to grow with somebody to keep them, not understanding that all it does is bring more stuff in to divide us more. But I didn't know because I've never experienced love, outside of my mom, my grandmother, but I've never experienced love where somebody just loved me enough to put me first, to love me enough to realize, okay, you will do for me, let me do for you. Let me make sure you're okay. I've never experienced that love. Most love in my life, I'm just going to be honest, it's been taken from me giving something, and then me being belittled or berated because I'm not fulfilling their needs when they bring nothing to it.
I pray, seriously, I pray that you continue in this journey of self-love, so you'll never be able to say that again.
Right. But but what I'm saying is what people are thinking. Have people feel this way. People won't be, because people look at you and they think you get it all together. And when you meet a person that, because here is the things that I didn't look for that this person has. One of them is emotional stability. This is somebody who managed their emotions and private emotion support. It's I'm healthy. Like, let me talk to you. Let me find out what it is. Another person that said that we share values. Values, and it's not always pertaining to something. You know what I mean? Somebody that, let me sit down, let me just calm your spirit, because you're jumping after stuff so that you can show people who don't want you that you're doing something. Not because you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because when you got peace at home, you could do everything. Because people only cheat because they ain't got no peace at home. Or they went somewhere, they settle. They ain't where they want to be. They just, I'm here because I'm here. Another thing is good communication, kindness and compassion, love and loyalty, intellectual openness, dependability, responsibility. A lot of people miss opportunities because they look for their type and they limit their potential to find someone who is truly good for them, because they have a type. Many people are single because not that there's good people, but they're not their type, and they don't feel like they have what they need, because they find they love and passion in something or doing something or having something. So their identity is what it is, because truth of the matter is going to blow you away. My identity was in what I do, what I have, and what God has given me, opposed to who I am until a few weeks ago. Until somebody showed me you're valuable. You ain't gonna get what God got you if you go into it feeling like you don't deserve it.
And until you got to that place,
love was gonna keep being feeling out of reach. And that's what we're trying to tell everybody today. It's like you gotta have it within inside of you. Because what I'm hearing is that we have to rewrite the story that we're telling ourselves about love and hurt. Because too many times after being hurt, people don't feel worthy. They don't feel valued. And they begin to tell themselves that I'm not worthy, I'm not valuable. I had a coworker one time come to me after, a few failed experiences. And she said, Anita, what's wrong with me? Ooh. She began to internalize that negativity. And I was so shocked to hear that, but it's so real, because that's how sometimes we actually have that negative self-talk, and we have to retrain the brain. Because I said, nothing is wrong with you. I gave the example that there are millions of people in Chicago. There are millions of single people. And if you just cut that in half and say, okay, 500,000, and then okay, half of those, 200,000, half of those, if you, no matter how many, people you start excluding from that situation, you still got thousands of people you have choices from. And you had a bad relationship with 4 people, and you think something wrong with you all of a sudden. And you haven't even had an opportunity to have different experiences and experience different people.
Help me on this. I subconsciously, I ain't gonna say consciously, became shallow because there was a certain type of woman that I wanted. And I kept looking over women like I've met because I didn't give women like the woman I met a chance, because there was a certain type of woman or a certain woman I wanted that many of us, myself included, have turned down good women, or women who've turned down good men that could have made them happy and really blessed them because they wanted a certain type.
Yeah.
That is when we think about choosing love, getting over the hurt.
I remember being younger. I don't know. I know I was pretty young. I probably was in my early 20s. And I started going down my list to my mother about the type that I wanted. And he had to look this exact kind of way. And my mom said, Anita, you focused on all the wrong things. You looking at, she said, you'll never find love, when you have all those, I don't know how she described it or what words she used, but just that list that I was compiling in my mind of what this perfect person looked like, that I would be really, truly missing out on a good man because I'm worried about frivolous things. And she was like, you're gonna, overlook somebody that's, really a good man that would be good for you because you're worrying about, those things that don't matter. And I'm so thankful that I was young, learning that lesson, and I didn't have to carry that all through my adulthood with this extensive checklist. And one of the ones that people talk about so much lately is, money and everything. And I've heard so many women say they want a man, that's, a 6-figure earner. And they will not accept anything less than that. And that's so funny because just a couple days ago, I saw some statistics. And in the African-American community, in particular, I think they said only about 11% of all Black men make 6 figures. And it's like, these women are looking for a needle in a haystack. And you may not
one and helping them become one.
Instead of just looking for a good man and not looking at what, the net, line is on his paycheck, you're going to miss out on a good man, and you're going to be alone and stay single because you are looking at not aspects or characteristics of a person, instead of, it's a fine line between what type of man is that or what type of woman is that versus the person themselves and what you need. That's and good. What you can bring to the table.
That's powerful.
You know what I'm saying?
That's powerful. Give the people some steps. I'll give them some steps. Give them some steps where they can get over the fear of being hurt. Some steps that they can do to find love or find love again after being hurt.
Okay. So I'm gonna run down my list. Embrace and process your emotions.
Okay.
Reconnect with yourself, work on self-compassion and self-care, seek support, build connections that, in safe spaces that you can talk, reflection, learning from your past experiences, gradually re-engaging in love and being very vulnerable and open to that, and then shifting your perspective towards growth and growing. And I think if you do those 7 steps, that's the process, that's the journey. And those 7 steps are really what I got from my research dealing with real psychologists and therapists, that those are the 7 steps that you can take to get back, to loving yourself and others.
Okay. Now,
What you got?
How I am about therapy.
Oh yeah.
And a therapist generally encourages people to allow themselves time to heal and process past hurts before new relationship, emphasize on self-reflection, emotional recovery as crucial steps to finding love again. Okay, now once you've done that, first thing you got to do, you can't think about the heartbreak. You can't let one bad experience or many bad experiences cause you to walk away from something good or someone good. To fall in love again after being hurt may be very hard over time, but it shouldn't appear as a barrier whenever you interact with somebody who has potential. Your past heartbreak shouldn't affect your present. See, one of the things that you can't let what happened to you cause you to sift somebody good or give somebody the 3rd degree that you just meet. Y'all, you gonna be there, gonna be that, you're gonna be there. You can't, or ask them scenarios about what happened, because you may have been in this position with somebody, but you might have been in a bad apartment with somebody, and you're gonna say, well, who gonna pay this? And they be like, listen, I live in a house that's already paid for, that you don't have to pay anything. You know what I mean? So you can't do that. You're gonna have to trust again. You're going to have to trust again. Your life has been planned for something better for you. You have been working your whole life for something better for you. If you have kids, you have been working your job, working your life, busting your tail, so you will have something better for your kids. God planned, the Bible says he came to give us life, and life what? More abundantly. So your life has always been planned for something better. You have to give yourself another chance to trust the world. And the most efficient way to let go is to embrace change and trust again. Okay. So you can't think about heartbreak or what could happen. All negative variables. Then you got to trust again. And then you know your self-worth. You deserve to be loved. That's the most important thing. Let's just get this up. You deserve to be loved. I want everyone out there listening to say, I deserve to be loved. I didn't think I deserved to be loved. And I thought anybody that was going to love me was going to love me for what I do for them. If I can make your dreams come true, you're going to love me. If I can provide you with a nice house and a good, stable life, and then you're going to love me. That's not true. I deserve love because I deserve love. And I have a right to have an affectionate life, affectionate love, and bad experience in relationship partners. I will not criticize myself for what they have done, because I am not perfect and people come with imperfections.
Yeah, I think sometimes we definitely have to speak life into ourselves. Even when you don't feel like it. I wake up every single day with daily affirmations. I'm constantly, daily posting I am, affirmations. And it's simple things. I am worthy of love and respect. You can say I am healing every day and becoming stronger. My past does not define my future. And just coming up with daily affirmations that you say to yourself as you move through your healing journey, as you're moving past your pain and learning to develop and grow into loving again, that self-talk is going to be very important. And again, taking your time. And because healing is not a race.
And I want everybody out here listening to me. I'm going to tell you what my therapist told me.
Okay.
He told me to stop saying I made a mistake. Stop saying that I'm a failure. Stop saying that I'm wrong. Stop saying that I messed up. And start saying lesson learned. Learned lessons or lessons learned. That opening yourself to love after heartbreak sounds impossible. But a lady, her name is Dionne Reed, said, heartbreak is the greatest teacher if we allow it to be. It really can positively prepare you for deeper love and deeper connection.
Right.
It's the greatest love. The best way for to be strong is standing back up after being knocked down. To open yourself up to the essential parts of love again, to prepare yourself for another trial of life. To fall in love again after being hurt, you have to learn the lessons that your heartbreak taught you. Maybe it tells you to love yourself more. Perhaps it's taught you that you not to repeat the mistakes you made in the past, but it taught you something. So instead of saying I made a mistake, I've learned my lesson, because you know what? You know how you learned the lesson? By the person beside you.
Yeah, because post breakup.
Because the person beside you is either a learned lesson or a repeat lesson.
And we about learning today. We're not gonna keep repeating these same mistakes. We're gonna take what we're learning here today. But yeah, post breakup periods, or when you are trying to move through that hurt, that's the period of self-discovery. That's it. That's when you start engaging in different activities that bring you joy, and rediscovering your passions and your strengths. One of the things that I did, after a divorce was, I went back to school. That's how I became a licensed boating captain, because I wanted to ignite my passion, something that meant something to me my whole life that was lying dormant. And I wanted to, do something positive to help me move through that healing process. And so I went back to school and I did one of the greatest things that I could have ever done for myself. And it really did help me discover what my purpose was in this life. And so I am living a very happy, healthy, joyous, purpose-filled life. And I could not have done that if I did not reconnect with myself post breakup.
She said, this is a very good show, very light.
I want to say something real quick, because LaDonna Marshall, earlier, she mentioned something. And I said I was going to come back to it, and I didn't. She put in the comments, she was talking about when we were talking about setting boundaries.
Okay.
And she was saying that people don't like when you set boundaries. And I wrote that in my notes, that some people are uncomfortable with expectations. When you start to set your boundaries, and when you start to protect your peace, and you decide you want to heal, then a lot of times people will buck you on that. I had a friend, we were talking about boundaries, and when I was talking about, my deal breakers, it's like, oh, I see you could be mean. And it was very interesting to me that me standing in my truth and me setting boundaries would be considered mean to some people. And I'm okay with that. I found that to be kind of interesting and even hurtful to a degree, because, that kind of negativity is what happens. It's a slow burn that lets you get away from who you are and what you need and want for yourself. So I agree, Miss LaDonna, that some people will get very uncomfortable with it. But the more you exercise that, the more you're loving yourself, the more they will see the benefit and the growth in you. And you hopefully then can start to move your relationship forward in that way. Or if you've exited the relationship, you can start growing.
What's her name? LaDonna?
LaDonna Marshall.
LaDonna Marshall. I'm going to take a different perspective on that, because here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is from a therapist's notes. Mm-hmm. I agree and I disagree, because you need to determine your expectations, your boundaries on your current person, not your current past. And that's where a lot of people say, and I'm going to explain that why. Some primary goals of relationships are companionship, support, love, and romance. Fortunately, how these ideas depends on the person to person. To fall in love again after being hurt, you have to analyze and explore your priorities and emotional experiences that you expect from your partner, your current partner. To know that how to open to love, you have to figure out what is most important priority to you and what can be possibly compromised on them. Keep your desires and expectations realistic to your partner, and they may help you achieve them more easily. Here is where I disagree with that, because many people set their boundaries and priorities from where they've been, and not going. If I'm on a boat and I'm on a boat where I have baggage, I have other passengers, I'm gonna need a bigger boat. I'm gonna need a boat that can carry what I'm bringing, opposed to getting a little sailboat, which I can't bring much on.
Yeah.
But I can't set my sailboat expectations on what you bring when I need to set my expectations on a boat big enough to accommodate both of us. One of the things that people make mistake is they believe that their boundaries and the things that they're setting it up because this is what they need universal. You don't know what you need until you've been deprived of something, been hurt of something. That a lot of our boundaries and our desires are set, expectations set on what we've been through and what we lack because of somebody, not who that person is. I agree with everything you're saying, but he said, determine your expectations. He said that how ideas prosper depend on person to person. Like what you have that will prosper with me depends on what I am. If you have a house, you have a refrigerator full of food, and you want this food cooked for a dinner party you may be catering, okay, I may not be help you, but I may not be a chef, so I can't help you. But get this. Now you have a dinner party, you cook, and I'm a chef. Now my expectations is to make you prosper because I can cook and help you cook. My expectations is not on you being a man. My expectations on you being a chef. That means that you can help me. So when we create our boundaries, we must create our boundaries on the person.
Okay.
Not where I've been at.
Okay. So I'm like you. I agree and I disagree because I'm gonna tell you what the difference is for me in what I'm hearing. So what you're describing to me, when it's a difference between when you're creating or making boundaries or a lack thereof in a toxic environment versus a healthy environment.
That's a good perspective.
So it's not that what you're saying I inherently disagree with, because I agree with that when it's coming from a perspective of toxicity. And these are old patterns, old behaviors, and you haven't gone through this journey and haven't gone through this process. Me sitting here today as a happy, healthy, whole, healed, joyous human being, having gone through these steps and learned these strategies and tools and having a very high level of emotional intelligence and very, very stable emotionally, today now I can say something different because I created those mind boundaries in a healthy environment with a healthy mindset. And I know what I need. And I don't know what I need as a result of hurt and deprivation. I know what I need now today as an full experience of joy. I have experienced joy, and there are certain things that I know I need as
let me interject because I want to interject on that for a minute because okay, you know what you need to experience and you know what you need in life, but everybody can't do that.
Oh no.
So you got to evaluate what you need according to the person can do that.
We can't, I'm not skipping the steps. And that was on a different show that we talked about, but I'm not skipping the steps of what needs to happen in the beginning of a new relationship or in a current relationship that's toxic and hurtful when you're trying to redefine what love is for you and what healthy is for you in those relationships. You still have to do the work and be compatible to come up with what works for the two of you, but one doesn't negate the other. I believe both things are true at the same time.
You have a home, right? You have a home. I have a home. We get married. Mm-hmm. Who home we gonna live in?
Whatever we discuss, and whatever we discuss is in the best interest of the two of us.
Now, what if I say, I want you to sell your home, and I'm gonna sell my home, and we're gonna go buy a new home together, and create the life and the boundaries of that home together in a new home? Because in your home, there's a familiarity with your kids, with your family, and everything familiar. It's like in my home.
You want to build something new?
Right.
I got it. Okay.
So we get a new place,
okay,
and we create the boundaries according to what you like and I like, and we both agree on. And that goes for the boundaries reset goes for your kids, it goes for my kids, it goes for our family, because this new place, because here it is. if I move in your house and I say something, I want to change something, well, this is the way we've been doing it. Or this is my mama's house, you know, or my kids say, hey, this is my dad's house, or, you know, you just can't come here and change something. But if we start from ground zero together in a new house, because, you know, when you look at the different points where they said, you take your time, your heart may need more time. But here is one of the things that the therapist said to me that I thought was good, and I want to make sure I get this in there. Accepting love is risky. There's always inevitable risk of misunderstanding. Sensitive, vulnerable points is all facing with open heart and open mind. We must be in a place where we both know what it is we need to do for each other in that place where we both.
Right.
When
so that example, it's a lot of nuance to this, and we can get in the weeds in this, but I want to stay more high level. But in that example, for instance, what if one of the people just bought a brand new home, had it built from the ground up? The other person had a home that they had for 20, 30 years or whatever, or 20 years, and let's say it's paid off. And now you're saying, okay, well, what do? Do we sell both houses and buy a new one? Well, in that situation, the person who just bought a brand new house, had it built from the ground up, has zero equity. And it might not be a good idea to sell. Maybe they want to turn that liability into an asset and rent it out. Maybe they want to make it an Airbnb and earn income off of it until it gets to the point of having some type of equity, because otherwise that house is a liability and not an asset in that. Or the one that's had their home and they own it, now they can sell it. That's a complete asset, right? So I just say that to point out that there are a lot of nuances that can come with that. But the most important thing is that you're communicating those different things in the beginning.
And to understand when choosing new love after being hurt, everybody's life don't work for it.
Right.
Don't take it personally as rejection because my life don't work with your life.
Exactly.
That's what I used to do, because I realized nobody rejected me. My life just don't work for your life.
Right. And then you have to, that's why, again, you're doing this process of self-discovery and self-reflection and self-growth. Because I'll tell you, in all the research that I did, and in those 7 points and all these documents and papers that I have with notes on it, literally, we try to be very thorough, because we understand we're dealing with real life people in real life situations, and we want to come with, something substantive. So, but at the end of the day, nothing in here says anything about the other person. Nothing at all. It's all about how you're changing your mindset, how you are rediscovering yourself, how you are acknowledging your own hurt and pain, how you are creating boundaries and healthy love lists for yourself. All of this is internal. And if you can take anything away from this show, that's one of the things that I want people to understand as you're trying to get out of this place of hurt and pain. Know that we've all been there. Everybody. You cannot turn and look at anybody and say, they've never experienced some type of hurt and pain or grief. We all go through it. And so you're not alone. And it's not unique to you. Nobody is, specifically just doing something to you to make your life terrible. This is just life. We are humans, and we're going to have a human experience that includes pain. So take the pain, turn it around, and use it to greater strengthen your self-discovery on who you are as a person, and focusing on those needs for you to be better and grow.
And you got to be honest with yourself, because honestly, everything I prayed for and everybody that I wanted, it was not what God had for me. Yeah. When God brought what he wanted for me to have, it was more than what I prayed for and exceeded my expectations, because we be praying for things we think or we won't, and God sees the end of it. We have to be honest. Honesty with yourself is the first step in creating love that builds on trust, authenticity, and mutual respect. Things gonna go wrong, and everyone's gonna always have an opposite side. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's your partner, but other times it will be fear and insecurities. If you can't cope or deal with misunderstandings, you don't have a good comeback ground, and you can't contribute to the betterment of the relationship after things happen, then most likely you're not going to succeed in love. because you have to be committed to the commitment. You must be fearless. You must open your heart to more possibilities, not just the possibilities you feel comfortable with, but with possibilities that God may be giving you something that you don't even know you need,
Yes.
or someone you need, that somebody may have your answers in their belly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you must let go of your fright and let your guard down. Understand that your heart, it can't be hurt again. You know, you can't be feared, because the heart that's going to race for the unknown and possibilities ahead of you. That's what your heart needs to be racing, not from what's behind you, the unknown and the possibilities. But it's worth loving and being loved, and it's worth being loved again.
Yes.
It's worth being loved again, because you got to realize, until you realize that
Or
love
for the first time.
for the first time,
Or for the first time. Yeah.
you can be hurt. But the thing is that better you, and when you make a decision on not just how you feel. Build your love on things of actions, the consistency, character, who they are. Don't build on looks. Don't build on possibility, character traits of my type. Because if we look at what it was, God showed me clearly, everyone that's hurt you, I gave you pray for them. You wanted them. But the person you didn't pray for turned out to be exactly what you wanted and what you needed.
Yeah. And I say, look in the mirror. It's very interesting to me when I was thinking about this topic today. I said we look in the mirror all the time, but only usually when we look good. When we look good, we can get in the mirror and be like, yeah, I look good. Yeah. But when you looking busted, and when you waking up in the morning, are you taking selfies? When you looking, when you looking, terrible, your hair not combed, standing on top of your head, or you got your bonnet on and all that, you usually not in the mirror then. So get in the mirror and self-reflect when you're not, looking your best. You learn to look in that mirror and take a look at yourself in the reality of your situation. Even our cameras, they now forward facing, where we just looking at ourselves, but only when we look good. We're not running around taking selfies and saying, hey, if you're not feeling beautiful within inside yourself. So, we got to start there. We got to be willing to look in the mirror and look at the ugly parts, to make a difference. And I just will give my final thoughts as we, start to wind down, is at the end of the day, healing is a journey. Is take your time, go through the process, learn the strategies, and know that it's possible, and love after hurt is possible too. So it starts with you. So take your time, do your work, and never settle for anything less than what you deserve.
My final thoughts is that make your type God's type for you. That everybody plays a role in their misery. Everybody plays a role in their choices. Every bad relationship was a common denominator, you. What is it about you that made you choose this person? Was it a soul tie? Was it a physical tie? Was it somebody that God says? Was it somebody that can move your spirit? Many people can move your body, but can they move your mind and your spirit? Can they give you peace when you find peace in everything you do have or people around you? Can they give you peace in your silence? I didn't believe in love anymore, and I didn't believe that somebody can love me until somebody did. That changed my concept, because it made me go from wanting people to not wanting people to be satisfied, because a peace like I experience is better than all the money that I can have and all the accolades someone can give me, because hurt people find solace in their abilities and find worth in what they have. True worth is in God. True worth is in God. True worth is in being happy. Choose somebody that's good for every part of you, not just certain parts. Somebody that's good for your mental psyche, somebody that's good for your emotional stability, and somebody that's good for your heart. Do not just pick somebody because of the potential of what they are. because their actions to speak louder than their words, and they've left you with nothing to go on and but words, you're in the wrong place. Because you don't know that I love you because I say that I love you. You know that I love you by the things that I would do for you. And anybody that would think about you when you're not thinking about yourself is somebody that really loves you. Because they say it's the thought that counts. It's true. Because how can you love somebody you don't think about? And remember, your type has got you the type of life that you have. Get God's type. We love you guys. We'll see you guys next week. You have a great day. Deuces.
Yeah, remember, you're not broken. You're just getting stronger and wiser.
There you go. Kyrie,
I got it.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.